My name is Person Hoptowit. I am a member of the White Swan Podcasting Club that is under the umbrella of the Multimedia Club. And today I'm interviewing Dr. Guaglianone, who is the superintendent of Mount Adams School District, which encompasses Harrah's Elementary and Middle School, as well as White Swan High School. Today we want to talk about his responsibilities, upcoming plans for the district, and community support. So, Dr. G, as superintendent, what are your responsibilities?
Well, thank you for asking. Thank you for having me here today. And thank you for all the students and the staff that have arranged this and have asked me to participate. As you know, I don't speak in front of a camera often. And the reason I agreed to do this today is because I do want to support students. And so your first question again is, what is it again?
As superintendent, what are your responsibilities?
All right. My number one responsibility is to ensure that all students graduate from White Swan High School ready for life, prepared to go to a career, to be successful citizens, and to give back to their community. That's really the number one role that I have. Now, there's a lot of other pieces that go into place in order to make that happen. The second thing, which is, that's my primary, and the second thing is to ensure that we hire excellent and prepared staff and teachers to make that happen. We all are hired, we're all here to make sure that all students are successful and that you get the tools that you need to launch into life and to accomplish your dreams and your goals and your parents' dreams and your goals and your grandparents' dreams for you. I have 10 grandchildren. I have 10 goals for them, or 10 dreams for them. And I'm sure your elders, your people in your life also have that. So I just see that myself and all the district leaders and teachers and staff come together to make that happen. So so we hire the best teachers that we can and the staff that we can, and we provide the support and tools that they need to help you to become successful. And then there's so that's the academic side of the house. But then there's the whole other personal side of the house, and part of my responsibility, number one, is to keep everyone safe. And so we spend a significant amount of our school budget, almost $500,000 a year, on school safety between our sheriff deputy on campus and the Phoenix officers and our safety programs that we do, that we have available. Because if students don't feel safe, they're not going to learn. That's really, really true. If teachers don't feel safe, they're not going to teach well. And so safety is clearly one of my top priorities, and I think the other leaders in the district are also having that as a goal, because that's a number one basic priority. Then something else that's really important to me is good food. We moved to a third-party food vendor about 3 years ago with the sole intention of providing excellent food made from scratch, homemade cooked meals, so the students can feel good about what they're eating. And because I know that food is, I know it's important to me, and so I know it's important to students as well to learn well. And so food's very important, and the meals. And then finally, the most important thing is the academic piece, though, is we need to make sure that students are reading by the time they get to third grade, that they're fluent readers, that they're learning to do math, and they're able to succeed in all the classes as they move up the grade levels so that they can get what they need in high school and then graduate. So those are all my responsibilities. Oh, there's one other piece, too, that I didn't mention, and that is the financial side. Mount Adams School District functions under a $20 million budget. That's our overall school budget. I know that's a lot of money, huh? And it's our job to make sure that we're spending money appropriately, that we have enough money in savings, that we're not at risk of being taken over by the state. And we recently sent out a postcard to the community to let them know we are in good financial condition. Compared to many other districts, some in our region, some across the state, that are in what's called binding conditions, which means that the state Department of Education takes over their school finances, and so we are not even close to that. So because of the good due diligence of our business office and our business leaders, as well as our principals and the teachers who take responsibility, and the other staff who take responsibility for things that we spend money on, we are really, really solid, and we look forward to years ahead of providing an excellent education for all students in our district.
Nice.
That was kind of a long answer.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
What do some,
Yeah.
like, you mentioned hiring good staff.
Mm-hmm.
What would that, like, look like of ensuring that they are good staff?
All right.
Like, what?
When somebody applies for a job, whether it's a bus driver job or somebody to work on the grounds or somebody who is teaching or a principal, they have to fill out an application. And then once they fill out an application, we look at everybody that applies. We narrow it down to make sure that we have everybody that has the minimum qualifications. And then we interview those people and we look at their letter of recommendation, their letter of interest. We look at their transcripts if they have a college degree. And we ensure that their background, we do reference checks on people. So we interview them and then we make a selection. But we don't take it lightly. This is like a 10-step process in order to make all that happen. Yeah.
That's really interesting, actually.
Yeah.
I
I'll be glad to
didn't
show you
know.
around. If you ever want to come to the personnel office, I'll show you what we do.
I'd
to
love
have you.
to.
Yeah.
I bet the podcasting club would love to walk around and try to.
Yeah. Yeah. Come
Figure
on
that
by
out.
anytime. Love to have you.
I guess the next question I have would be, how did you become superintendent?
Oh, gosh. Well, I started teaching many years ago, just about 40 years ago. And I was a high school teacher, and then I taught at the community college for several years, and then I actually I became a marriage and family therapist. And that was my career goal because some personal reasons, and my own family went through marriage counseling when I was a teenager, and I just loved what our counselor did for us as a family. And so that's something that's very, very important to me as a family. So I was in private practice as a marriage and family therapist for 5 years, and then decided that I do better work, and I was solving a lot of problems after they had already happened. So I wanted to get in front of the problems. So I decided, I'd go back to high school and work with students so that they don't have these problems, hopefully, as they get older. So I went back, became a high school vice principal, an elementary school principal, an assistant superintendent. And then I finished my doctorate in 1993, and I had the opportunity to become a professor at the university. And so I went the professor route to teach teachers who wanted to become principals on what it means to be a principal. And I just loved being a principal because you really impact the entire school and all the students and all the teachers and the community all at the same time. And that's something that was really important to me. And so I became a professor of people who wanted to become principals. Then I enjoyed the administrative part of it, and so I became an associate dean and a provost at the university. I was in the university system for 25 years. And then in 2012, excuse me, that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
1912, I'd be really old then. I'm old now, that would be worse. In 2012, 2016, I was asked by the ESD superintendent if I'd be interested in applying for the superintendency here in White Swan. And I applied, and they hired me, and I've been here for 10 years. So that's all kind of the steps that it took for me to get here.
What inspired you to become superintendent for Mount Adams District, other than like being told the physician was like, what inspired you to be
What
like,
inspired
that's what I want to do?
I had spent 4 years at Heritage University, and I came to Heritage because of the mission of Heritage. And the mission of Heritage University is to provide an excellent education to predominantly underserved populations. So it started by Sister Kathleen Ross and two Yakima women to provide teacher preparation because they couldn't get teachers to come out here and work in the Yakima Valley, in the South Valley. And so Sister Kathleen and the other two women that convinced the tribe, convinced Sister Kathleen's order to allow it, found donors, and they put the university together to provide that kind of education here. So because of that mission, I came from California to work at Heritage. And then working at Heritage, I got to know tribal elders, tribal council leadership. Mr. Henry Strom was the superintendent out here, and I would come and visit him very often. I just got to know the community, and I enjoyed the community, and I saw the need for somebody who would be willing to make a difference and that would have a heart for the Yakima people and the Hispanic people that live out here. And so I just thought it was a really neat opportunity to expand my career, to go to the next step and to just impact lives every day, because that's what I believe, that through me being superintendent, I do everything I can do to open up the doors and move things out of the way so our teachers, our staff can impact your life and all the students' lives, so that you can, again, the number one vision is that all students will be prepared for life when they leave Mount Adams High School. That's why, is to impact lives. And to, sometimes somebody asks me what I really enjoy most about being superintendent, and I say I save lives every day. And we save lives by teaching students to read, by teaching students to do math, by providing counseling services, by providing a beautiful campus, beautiful lawns, safe buses, everything that it takes for a student to be successful. Good food, as I mentioned earlier. And so all those things just make my job very, very enjoyable. And I just enjoy serving people. I enjoy serving students. I enjoy serving staff. And then making sure we put the right people in place to make that happen.
On that topic, when you think about Mount Adams School District, what do you envision? What do you see about Mount Adams School District?
Okay. I envision Pato, the mountain, Mount Adams itself, as everything that we believe in. It's big and strong and bold and beautiful, and everything that I would like students to be able to be. Big and strong and bold and courageous and beautiful, and stand out amongst all the other mountain peaks in the country. And it's named for that. It's named to provide that level of strength and courage for students. When I started, one of the things that was mentioned often, which really bothered me, and it would say that Mount Adams is the end of Fort Road Extension. And I said, no, we are not the end of the road. We're at the beginning of the road. And so I see Mount Adams as the beginning of the road for our students. As you know, I know you've benefited from going and visiting college campuses, and you've visited other places and have a dream and a vision. I've talked to other students who's had an idea of going to Congress and going to Olympia and being a lawmaker, or I go to the Roots to Wings programs at the University, Pacific Northwest University of Health Sciences. And our Roots to Wings program exposes students to the medical profession. And then we have partnerships and field trips to the fisheries and to the forestry and to the power company, Yakima Power. And so we have a lot of opportunities. We want our students to be successful and to find that path that Creator has set out for them to be successful in life. And that's what really excites me, and that's what I want to accomplish here in Mount Adams School District.
Nice.
Yeah.
5 years from now, what do you see for the school?
5 years from now, okay. This is 2025, so in 2030 we will have a rebuilt, modernized campus in White Swan. The plan is to, as you know, we've already begun working on the bleachers, and the gym is a lot better than it was a year ago. And we are going to continue. In fact, I had a meeting today talking about wrestling facilities, because I know that's really important to our community. But it's the overall facilities. The schools like Mount Adams School District receive state funding once every 25 to 30 years.
That's a long time
It's
to
a
go
long
without
time
funding.
to go without funding for building. And so we are right now ready for our next installment of funding. And so once the board makes a decision, they haven't fully decided yet as to what the next step is, but once the board makes a decision to modernize the high school, then we will begin drawing up plans. We already have an architect that we've worked with to draw up potential plans and designs so that we can take Mount Adams School District physically as a building to a place that will meet the needs of the community. That's number one. But I also want to make sure that the district and that the White Swan High School are very intentional in providing the correct curriculum that our students need. So we have an amazing FFA program and growing FFA program. We have our food services program that's kind of gotten off the ground and doing very, very well. We have our other CTE programs like this class that are preparing students to do with life skills. You know, we have students building shops and buildings, and there's just so many exciting things that are going on that I want to make sure that we provide the right curriculum, the right facilities in order to provide the opportunity for students to be successful in anything that they want to do. And so we need to make sure all those things are in place. And the number one thing is we need to be financially solvent so that we can do that. So I am very attentive to the way we spend money. I'm very attentive to making sure that we have the right number of staff based on the income that we receive. And then I'm also very attentive to advocating, going to Olympia and Washington, D.C. from time to make sure that we continue to get the state and federal money that we need in order to help students to be successful.
You mentioned like needing funding and like all of these other things. Like, is there anything that the community can do to support the school and you in order to accomplish these goals?
Sure, there is. I'm thinking of a couple of things. The one thing that's really urgent is in February, actually next year, our levy runs out. And levy is a property tax that people who own property pay. And this is a factual piece of information because as superintendent, I can talk about the facts. I can't tell you how to vote. I can't encourage you to vote, although I'd like to, but I can't. And so, but I can tell you what will happen if we don't pass the levy. The levy, the way that our school district is funded is we receive state funding, say so many dollars per student. Okay. Then we also receive additional money if a student needs special needs. We receive additional money if they're in a CTE course. Okay, so a little extra money for that. We receive some money for transportation to buy yellow school buses, you know, because we got to get you here. And then we receive a little extra money for food. And then we also, because we're on federally impacted land, because we're on the Yakima Nation, we also receive some federal money. And then we have other federal sources to help us for our McKinney-Vento students, which is our homeless population, and then we other little pots of money. But there's a very large pot of money, which is our levy funds. And our levy funds bring in $300,000 a year. Okay. And that money is going to run out at the end of 2026. Okay. But because the taxpayers agreed to pass a tax and tax themselves, the taxpayers voted yes on our levy. And they're saying, yes, tax us, and we're willing to pay our fair share. Okay? And each household pays a few $100s a year on their levy. But because they said yes, then the state kicked in an additional $1.2 million to supplement our levy. It's called levy equalization. So our levy consists of the $300,000 that we get from our taxpayers, and it also includes the $1.2 million we get from the state. And we use that money to pay for our athletics, our extracurricular clubs and activities, some of our food service, and I think those are the three big things that we spend our levy money on. If, in fact, we don't pass our levy, and we're going out for a vote, it'll be on the ballot in February. If we don't pass our levy, chances are that some of those things will go away. A portion of our athletics, a big portion of our athletics is paid for by the levy. A big portion of our food bill, our cafeteria across the district is paid for by the levy. And then our CTE programs and a lot of the other things that we do is also extra funded by the levy. So again, if the community says yes to a levy, then the state will give us an additional $1.2 to $1.5 million. So we get this much from our community and we get this much extra from the state. If the community says no, then we lose all of that, which will have a big impact because that's about almost $2 million. In a $20 million budget, that's 10% of our budget. And so you asked if the community could do anything. I think it's important that the community understands how important the levy vote is in February. But remember, those were just the facts, okay?
Right, just the facts.
Just the facts.
Just the facts.
Okay.
Got it.
Okay. Do you have other questions?
Sadly, we have to pick it up because we're running out of time and space.
Well, I
but
appreciate the time.
Yeah.
I appreciate you asking.
Yeah, the Podcasting Club really appreciates you coming to our class and sharing just sharing everything that it takes to be superintendent, like your responsibilities, what you have to do, and what the community can do to support these positive changes for the school.
Good, good. Well, great. I appreciate the students and Mr. Horn and Mr. Craig and everyone that works with all of you to help you get these skills that you'll be able to use the rest of your life. As nerve-wracking as it is to speak in front of a camera, it's a good thing to learn. So anyway, thank you very much. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
All right.